This video is to review test number 1. So to start test number 1, it says you need to start a new project named Small Office. So I'm going to go to New, and this is an architectural drawing, so I'm going to click Architectural Template and say OK. And then I'm going to say File, Save As, Revit Project, and I want to save this as Small Office as indicated in the directions, and hit Save. And make sure you save that to a location where you can remember. Okay, now I want to draw a basic wall, exterior, brick on CMU. So I'm going to say Wall. In the type properties, I want to select brick. Oh, I'm looking for it, sorry. I think I went, here we are. Brick on CMU. So this is a basic wall, exterior brick on CMU. I want it to be 110 feet east to west. So I'm going to click at one point, move my mouse over, type 110 feet, and then I want it to be 68 feet north to south, so 68 feet. And then I'm going to close this loop. And you should always draw between these markers, because these are your elevation markers. In fact, I'm actually going to center my building just a little bit more between them. Okay, and then the other thing I want to check is that my walls are actually the proper size. So I'm going to annotate, and I'm going to pick the wall face and pick around my building. Okay, so I see that actually my building is bigger because it was probably dimensioning from the center line to the center line, which is something I could have changed in the beginning when I created my wall by picking the location line. See, it was on wall center line. I should have selected it to finish face exterior, and then the dimensions would have been correct. But I'm going to show you this way because I'm sure a lot of you probably did this. So I'm going to show you how to fix the dimensions now. I want this to be 110 feet, so I'm going to move this wall right here. And then I'm going to click on the temporary dimension and type in 110 feet and hit enter. And now that dimension is 110 feet. And I want this dimension to be 68, so I'm going to click on this wall and type 68 feet and then hit enter, and that made my building dimensions 110 by 68. I'm going to set the detail level down here to fine so I can see the building elements. And another thing I want to check is to make sure the brick is on the outside of the building. So this crosshatch here indicates brick, and I want to make sure that that shows up on the outside all the way around my building. And it does. If it doesn't, if you get this, you just need to flip your wall so that the brick is on the outside. Next, I want to draw vertical and horizontal grids. And so to do that, I'm on the Architecture tab. I'm going to go to the grids, and I want to draw a grid line through my building. And remember that you want them to be aligned. You don't want them to be sloppy on the drawing. So I'm just going to start by placing them, the 1, 2, and 3, just kind of randomly. I want to lock them to the faces of the exterior face of the wall. But first I need to align them with the exterior face. So I'm going to click on the grid line, and I'm going to use the align command. I'm going to select the face of the line and then the grid line, and I'm going to lock it. And then over here I'm going to select the face of the grid line and then the face of my building. Oops, face of my building, and then the face of the grid line, excuse me, and then I'm going to lock it. So by locking it, now anytime I move this wall, the grid line will move with it. So see if I try to move it, actually it's not even letting me move it at all, which is good because it locks my dimension in place. Okay, and then we're going to hold off on number 2 for just a minute. I'm going to go back to the Architecture tab, and I want to draw the grids, the horizontal grid lines. And remember, we want this stuff to be aligned, and that one was really not straight. Let's do that again. Here we are. So now we want these to also be aligned. So we're going to align, we're going to select the grid, the face of the wall. Oh, wrong way. Sorry about that. The face of the wall, and then the grid line. Where you want it to go, and then where you want to move. Sometimes I have to say it in my head, or I just do the wrong thing. Okay, and then this should be labeled A, and then this one should be labeled B. So we have 1, 2, 3, A and B. Now we want a dimension between grid lines 1, 2, and 3. So our overall dimension is our last dimension. I'm going to move that up a little. I'm going to go to the Annotate tab, and I'm going to dimension between 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to pull that dimension so that there's equal spacing between these two dimensions. And I want to equally space grid lines 1, 2, and 3, so I'm going to hit EQ, and it puts 2 right in the middle. So now I want to add an overall building dimension from grid line 1 to 3. So I have this EQ and then the overall dimension of 110 feet. And I'm going to leave this overall dimension of 68 feet here as well. Now I'm going to draw interior walls with the following properties. So I'm going to go back to Architecture, Wall. I want to select an interior wall that's 4 7/8 partition, 1 hour. And I want to change it so that the top constraint is set up to level roof. Now I don't have a level called roof right now, so to fix that, I'm going to go to the elevation view, and I simply want to just rename level 2 roof. And now I have a level called roof. And it says, would you like to rename the corresponding view? Yes, I would. So we're going to go back to that level 1 plan, get our interior walls, set top constraint up to level roof, and then we're going to draw a wall starting from the west wall. We're going to draw a vertical line that's 22 feet. So I'm going to come out, and I'm just going to draw a line down. Okay. And I also want to draw a wall that's horizontal all the way here. Okay, so now let's check those dimensions. And you can take a look at the assignment instructions to see where that dimension is supposed to be located. So it says the wall position, this wall position right here, is 22 feet from the interior face of the exterior wall. So what does that mean? Well, I go to the exterior wall, and this is the interior face, this interior spot. So I want a dimension from there, and it says to the interior face of the interior wall. So then this is the interior wall, and then this is the interior face. Okay? So this is my dimension. So I'm going to click. And it's not 22 feet, so to move it, I'm just going to click on the wall that I want to move. So I want to move this interior wall, not my exterior walls, because all those dimensions are set up properly. I want to move the interior wall, so I click on it, and then I type 22 feet and hit enter. And then it changes that dimension. Okay, so now I want to draw the 5 vertical walls as shown below. So I have 1 vertical wall here, and I want 5 more. So ways I can do that is I could use the array tool that I learned about, and I could do a linear array and say 5, and I could say move to second, and I could space these an approximate distance. Okay, that's fine. And I don't know what the distance is supposed to be yet. So to make them all equal, I'm going to use my dimension tool again, and I want to space them so that all of them are equal. So I'm starting at the wall face, and then it looks like it's going to the center line of the walls here from my image that I showed you in the instructions. And typically you always dimension to the center line of interior walls and to the wall face. Okay, so now once I have that dimension string set, don't overlap dimension strings like this, pull it up a little bit, and then use the EQ tool, and I'll space all those walls equally. So let's make sure we have 5 walls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, 5 in the instructions and 5 on my drawing. Now we're going to insert a single flush door into this wall right here. So go to Architecture tab, Door, and I'm going to select a single flush 36 by 84 inches. I'm going to put that door down here. Now it says to space it 2'6". So actually I just did it right on the money. So from the center line of this wall to the center line of the door is 2'6". So make sure that you have that dimension, and actually I would make sure that I would show that dimension in my drawing so that it's clear. Now we're going to mirror and copy the doors to match the image. And actually the way I have the door set up is kind of funny, but we're going to match it anyway. So we're going to use the mirror tool, pick axis, and we're just going to mirror that door. And now what I can do is I can click on both doors and hit the copy command multiple times. I'm going to select the midpoint of this wall, and then I'm just going to come down and select the midpoint on all these other walls to place the two doors. Okay. So now some spaces have two doors in them, which is why I said it's kind of funny. That really wouldn't, you'd just pick one door. Like that probably wouldn't be there, or that one. It would just be there, there. And there. See how like there should only be doors into those, one door into each room. Now if you have it the other way, that's fine, because that's what I showed in the image. But if you thought to yourself, gee, that looks weird, and I'm going to fix them, and you did it this way, I won't take points off. I applaud you for noticing. Now we're going to tag all the doors in sequential order. So when I created these doors, I could have clicked on tag as I made them, but if I didn't, I could come to the annotate tab and click tag all, and I can click on door tags and say OK, and it puts the door tags in there in order. Now I'm going to insert some windows. So I want to go back to the architecture tab, click on window. I'm going to select 36 by 48. A window, and I'm going to set the sill height right here in the properties to 3'6". And this is all just stuff that you have to read as you're doing this, right? I know this is new to you, but you're reading, you're looking for these things, and that's how you're finding them. I want to make sure I have tag on placement selected, and I want to match the dimensions shown in the image in the book. So I'm coming down here, and I'm placing a window, it looks like at 6 foot. And that is actually from the outside edge, so I'm going to have to fix these after I place them. So I'm going to place two windows, and then I'm going to annotate, and it looks like from the outside edge to the center of the window here, and I want to show this dimension, is supposed to be 6 foot, and then from the center of this window to the center of this window is 8 feet. So how do I move this window? Well, I click on the object I want to move, and then I use the temporary dimensions to help to move the window. So this is supposed to be 6 feet, so I'm going to type 6 feet in there. And then this gap between the two windows is supposed to be 8, but if I move this window, it's going to move this dimension. So I need to move this window so that this dimension changes. And then I type in 8 feet. Okay? And then really what I should do is move my tags over a little bit so that they're not getting cut off by my dimensions. And they're both labeled as 1 because both of these windows are 36 inches by 48 inches. So just click on that again and make sure the sill height is 3'6". Yep. And now we want to draw a flat roof. So we're going to do that on the roof plan. We're going to go to the architecture tab, select roof. And that was roof by footprint. And we want a basic roof insulation on metal deck EPDM. And I'm going to extend it into the wall core, and it's supposed to be flat, so I have to uncheck define slope. And then I'm going to use the pick walls command, and I'm going to pick around this building. And then I'm going to hit the green check mark. And it says, would you like to attach the highlighted walls to the roof? So yes, I would like my walls to hit the underside of the roof. Alright, so now I'm going to look at this in 3D. Oh, and it looks really weird, right? So what's happening? Well, take a look at the height of the exterior walls. They're unconnected right now. And it says in the instructions that they should have a top constraint to the roof level. So I'm going to select all instances visible in view, and I'm going to change the top constraint to level roof and hit apply. And now they go to the roof level. The weird thing now is that the roof is higher than the walls. So the one thing I didn't read in the instructions that I should have was that it also said to change this top offset to 2 feet. So I'm going to repeat what I just did. Click on a wall, right click, select all instances visible in view, and then change that top offset to 2 feet and hit apply. So now it will go 2 foot past the roof level. So you can see there's a little bit of a parapet there. All right.